growing your technology, incorporating AI, incorporating the kind of data collection and use that creates an engagement, a connection with your customer, and makes their experience better, is going to be an advantage in the future.
Hello and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Vineet, and today we have a CX expert with us on the show. But before I introduce you to our guest, allow me to introduce you to the magic of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code digital CX platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 187 countries and in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Ing.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, Marilyn Suttle is the CEO, Customer Service Keynoter at the Suttle Enterprise LLC. She's an outstanding mentor and business coach and is known for her best-selling book, Who's Your Gladys? How to Turn Even the Most Difficult Customer into Your Biggest Fan. Through her energizing keynotes and live or virtual training, her clients see changes, winning industry awards, raising service scores, and improving engagement. In addition, she runs the Women in Leadership Retreat and uses the revolutionary coaching tool, RIM, Regenerating Images in Memory. Welcome to the show, Marilyn. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, but before we dive into our interview with Marilyn, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders around the globe. So going back to our interview, let's start with our first question. So Marilyn, as we know, the pandemic likely will have a lasting effect on the customer. So how can CX leaders try to put themselves at the forefront of this shift in customer behavior to meet the needs of the customer?
Well, you're absolutely right. The pandemic has changed the way customers think about buying and interacting with companies. It's changed the way CX leaders have to manage customers. And the things to keep in mind is that some of these changes are here to stay. Customers have gotten really comfortable with quick delivery, with curbside service, with some of the ways we've had to do business to keep customers safe. So when things go back, well, I won't say they'll go back, but as things emerge into the next way of doing life, customer experience leaders need to observe. And by observe, that means observe customer behaviors, observe the data, what the data is showing, you get what you measure, and adjust. And making those adjustments can be stressful. Big thing about adjustments is you can't just adjust, you have to innovate along the way. There are certain things your customers want, and there are certain things they don't know they want until you roll it out. And this is where tech could be so helpful to help you with this. But let's look for a moment at what is it that customers want as of today and moving forward. Customers want to feel safe. There's so much fear now. There's fear in what's going to happen economically with their money. There's fear in that interacting with your business. Will they be safe? There's a growing need to educate customers. They want to know how to interact. It's not always as intuitive as it could be. So as a CX leader, looking at, am I making it easy? Am I making it fast? Am I making it convenient? Am I taking away the friction so that customers can easily work with us?
Totally agree. So so with these changes in customer behavior, comes a change in engagement behavior also with the brand. So how do you think businesses today are, keeping up with the pace?
That's tricky. How do you keep up with the behaviors? Well, the first thing is to be aware of the behaviors and not to be so entrenched in this is the way we do things that you can't say, okay, that's the way we did things. Now we need more support. We need more data collection. We need more humanization of platforms so that customers feel comfortable. We need to really look at the customer journey, the new customer journey, and look at each point of contact. There's a saying that a confused mind doesn't buy. So are we making it clear? Is there clarity in each platform, on the web, in the chat, each type of communication needs to be analyzed from the perspective of this new development in customer behavior.
Absolutely. So so how can SMEs emerge in a new environment, which is, pushing digital channels and like remote work to the maximum?
Oh, great question. So small and medium enterprises, it's been really hard for them.
Yeah,
And at the same time, they've had a bit of an advantage moving forward in that because they're smaller, they don't have the weight of a large company's legacy programs. They're IT vehicles that are so ingrained and not easily adapted and changed. As a small and medium size, it's a little bit easier to bring in something new, get rid of something that doesn't work. They're closer to the ground. They're closer to the customer, so they can respond quicker. So that's an advantage. They need things like artificial intelligence. They need things that help them make it easier to interact and know what's happening for the customer, though. So there's new needs for the small and medium sized, and at the same time to own those advantages, take advantage of those advantages.
correct. So as you were telling, what the internal customer service, needs to take place like to support these remote workers?
That's a great question because people are remote, and now some employees were always remote. And so systems are in place, but even with them, we have to look at things differently because they're a new employee. They have new pressures that they didn't have before. They could have homeschooled children, elder care going on, pets behind them. There's a new way of doing business. And when you think about it, like, let's take a look at, say, a law firm. Maybe you have 200 lawyers across the country or across globally, and now they're all remote, where before they could just walk into the building and talk to each other. Who are you working with? What can you help me with this? Have you ever done that? Those kind of questions that you just ask in passing aren't happening. There's disconnection. When a new team member comes on, they don't know anybody. And there's not that integration of social support within the team. Research has showed that social support within an organization makes for stronger teams, which makes for stronger customer service in the end, because what happens on the inside of a company eventually shows up on the outside. So having a strong internal customer service is vital. One way to do that is, as a leader, you need to create conversations virtually. You need to bring, just like you would do a morning huddle, for example, you do a morning huddle so that you can get everybody on track of what's the newest stuff, what's been happening, what do you need to know, what's happening today. We need to create huddles where employees can get together virtually and have those conversations. It's not water cooler talk. This is important connection, communication talk. And the problem is leaders can sometimes not have the skill set to make an engaging virtual connection.
True.
I actually teach MC skills to leaders so that they can run virtual meetings in an engaging way where people can feel comfortable, can feel connected, where it makes sense and they're not just stressed the whole time. So there's definitely a new set of skills for leaders to be effective with their internal teams, so the internal teams have what they need to do a good job.
Correct. So like, as you were telling now, AI plays a really important role. So do you think that due to the rapid onset of digital transformation and automation has, catapulted the progress of AI and accelerated its impact on the world?
AI, the technology, it's wonderful. We need it. It has made such a difference. Now your refrigerator, your car, your washer and dryer communicate with the company before you even know there's a problem. The company knows there's something going on and they can solve it. So when you can be solving a problem before the customer even sees it, you've got an edge. So, and then AI communicating with call centers, it aids the live person to have that AI feeding them vital information that can make that call go smoother. We need AI. This whole technology boost is going to make customer experience even better. It's actually wasn't so good before this pandemic, and it's maybe one of the benefits. I'm not short-sighting how difficult this has been on businesses, but if we can look at what is the outcome that can lead us to a good future, growing your technology, incorporating AI, incorporating the kind of data collection and use that creates an engagement, a connection with your customer, and makes their experience better, is going to be an advantage in the future.
Correct. Like the future is, I think we are shifting towards a human-centric, customer-centric approach. Most of the companies, like it can't be task-oriented anymore. So Marilyn, like, are there any other thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, that's a good point you just said. And so my final thought is we talk about being task-oriented and being people-oriented.
Yeah.
And there's a need for both. We just need to understand that the people orientation needs to be part of the task. So if you're very task focused, you make understanding the emotional animal that is a human being, because people make their decisions based on emotion. And then what's the saying? They find logic to verify what their emotional decision is. So we need to understand that the way that human dynamics works as a task. So that, and I'll just bring this down to a really basic level. I was working with a library system on a new customer service model as they moved into one of these mega buildings from a very small one. And the greeters would find it very stressful to sit, they said, sit there and do nothing but smile and greet. And they wanted a task to do. And when we were able to explain that it is a task to make customers feel welcome, to make them feel like they matter walking in, it alleviated this pressure, because then if you define it as a task, you can relax into it and be engaging.
That's a really nice perspective. Like, more companies should, I think, have that approach. So thank you so much, Marilyn, for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable, and I'm sure our audience is going to enjoy this interview. So folks, we'll be back with a new episode and with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one.